Let's get started. Number 6. Name the feeling. Imagine your brain as a toddler having a meltdown in a grocery store. It doesn't want logic, it doesn't want snacks, it just wants someone to say, "I see you're upset." Turns out, your actual brain works the same way. There's a neuroscience party trick called affect labeling, where simply naming your emotion out loud, like saying, "I'm anxious," instead of just marinating in anxiety, calms down your amygdala, the almond-shaped drama queen in your skull responsible for panic, rage, and irrational fear of emails. Researchers at UCLA stuck people in brain scanners, showed them upsetting images, and found that the moment someone slapped a label on their emotion, activity in the fear center dropped like a bad Wi-Fi signal. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, your brain's responsible adult, lit up and took the wheel. So next time your chest gets tight before a big meeting, don't just spiral, narrate it like a nature documentary. Here we see a nervous human, sweating profusely, convinced everyone can hear his stomach. It sounds ridiculous, but ridiculous is kind of the point, because your brain can't run a 5-alarm fire drill while also giving a play-by-play commentary. Basically, emotions are like toddlers and gossiping neighbors combined. The second you acknowledge them by name, they lose half their power and get bored looking for someone else to bother. Number 5. Delay the reaction. Here's a fun experiment. The next time someone insults you online, cuts you off in traffic, or sends a message that makes your blood pressure audition for a superhero movie, don't react immediately. I know, revolutionary. Your emotional brain loves speed. It wants revenge, delivered with same-day shipping. It doesn't care if your response is smart. It just wants it to exist. That's why people send texts they regret, quit jobs dramatically, or argue over things they'll laugh about 3 days later. Instead, create a tiny delay. Count to 10, take a short walk, drink a glass of water. Even waiting 2 minutes gives your prefrontal cortex, the logical CEO of your brain, enough time to walk into the meeting and stop the emotional interns from setting the office on fire. Think of it like replying to emails while your computer is installing updates. Bad idea. Wait until the system finishes rebooting. Ironically, emotional control isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about refusing to let them grab the steering wheel while they're still screaming. Feel the anger. Acknowledge it. Just don't hand it the car keys. Most emotional disasters don't happen because people have feelings. They happen because feelings get promoted to temporary management, and your emotions, while occasionally useful, have the decision-making skills of a squirrel after 3 cups of espresso. Number 4. The boring breath trick. You've heard, "just breathe," approximately 4,000 times in your life, usually from someone who is not currently panicking, which makes it deeply unhelpful in the moment. But here's the twist nobody explains properly. It's not about breathing, it's about how you breathe, specifically making your exhale longer than your inhale. Your body has an internal seesaw called the autonomic nervous system, with one side being the sympathetic branch, basically a caffeinated alarm system yelling, "run," and the other being the parasympathetic branch, a sleepy librarian whispering, "shh, we're fine." Short, shallow breathing feeds the alarm system. Long, slow exhales physically stimulate the vagus nerve, a wandering cable that runs from your brainstem down through your chest, and tugging on it tells your body the librarian is officially in charge again. Try inhaling for 4 seconds and exhaling for 8, and your heart rate will actually slow down within moments, not because you're being zen, but because you're mechanically hacking your own wiring like a nervous system technician. It's less spiritual awakening and more flipping a breaker switch. The wildest part is your brain can't tell the difference between fake calm and real calm if the breathing matches, so you're essentially gaslighting your own nervous system into chilling out. Number 3. Name the monster. Imagine waking up feeling awful for absolutely no reason. Everything annoys you, the coffee tastes suspicious, the internet is slow. Somebody breathes too loudly, and suddenly you're mentally preparing for battle. Most people just call that having a bad day. Your brain hates vague problems because vague problems feel enormous, but something strange happens the moment you put a label on an emotion. Instead of saying, "I'm a mess," try saying, "I'm frustrated," "I'm embarrassed," or "I'm anxious." It sounds ridiculously simple, almost disappointingly simple, but psychology shows that accurately naming emotions reduces their intensity. It's like turning on the lights in a dark room. The scary monster hiding in the corner usually turns out to be a chair wearing yesterday's laundry. When you identify what you're actually feeling, your thinking brain starts working again, instead of leaving everything to your emotional autopilot. You stop becoming the emotion and start observing it. There's a huge difference between saying, "I am angry," and I'm experiencing anger. One makes the emotion your identity. The other makes it a temporary visitor who forgot they're supposed to leave. Your emotions aren't dictators, they're weather forecasts. Sometimes they predict storms that never arrive. Give them a name, and suddenly the emotional hurricane starts looking a lot more like an inconvenient Tuesday afternoon. Number 2. The cold water reset. Splashing cold water on your face sounds like something out of an old cartoon where a guy panics and someone dunks his head in a sink, but it's also a legitimate, doctor-approved way to slam the brakes on a spiraling panic attack. It's called the dive reflex, a leftover survival trick from when your ancestors' ancestors needed to survive falling into freezing lakes. The second cold water touches your face, especially around your eyes and cheeks, your body assumes you're about to drown and immediately redirects blood flow to protect your heart and brain, while your heart rate drops fast, sometimes within seconds. Therapists actually teach this as a real technique for anxiety and even for interrupting the urge towards self-destructive coping habits, because it forces your nervous system to physically shift gears instead of staying stuck in overdrive. You don't need an ice bath or a dramatic Batman villain moment either. A bowl of cold water and 10 seconds of face dunking, or even holding an ice pack against your cheeks, tricks your body into acting like it just survived a near drowning, which, evolutionarily speaking, is a much bigger deal than being nervous about a text message. So basically, your 10,000-year-old biology doesn't know the difference between Arctic Ocean and sink, and you get to exploit that confusion for your own emotional benefit. Number 1. Boredom on purpose. You'd think doing nothing would be easy, yet the second silence hits, most people frantically reach for a phone like it's an emotional life raft. But sitting in boredom on purpose, no scrolling, no music, just you and your thoughts, is one of the most underrated emotional training tools that exists. Studies have shown people would rather give themselves mild electric shocks than sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes, which says a lot about how allergic humans have become to their own minds. Deliberately practicing boredom strengthens something called distress tolerance, your brain's ability to sit with discomfort without immediately needing an escape hatch. It's basically emotional weightlifting, except instead of building biceps, you're building the muscle that keeps you from panic buying, panic texting, or panic eating every time life gets uncomfortable. Over time, this makes you less reactive, more patient, and weirdly more creative, since boredom is also where your brain quietly starts problem-solving in the background. So the next time you're standing in line and your hand twitches toward your phone, try just standing there instead, doing absolutely nothing, and let your brain squirm a little. It's uncomfortable, sure, but so is literally every form of growth, and at least this one's free. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.